Now there's one other thing that might be bothering you, which is that, well, words are strings, but what about doing something like this? It'd be really nice if we could call palindrome on a literal string like this. But that doesn't work because strings don't have a palindrome method. So this is something that distinguishes Ruby from a lot of other languages, which is that you can actually open up built-in classes like string and add methods to them. Now obviously this is a really dangerous thing potentially. You could do crazy things like redefine plus to be multiplication for fixed nums, so that any time someone did 2 plus 3, it came out 6 instead of 5. So this is the sort of thing, it's one of these great power, great responsibility situations. So we're going to very delicately modify the built-in string class by adding a palindrome method. So let's try that. This is the built-in class, class string. Now let's define our palindrome method. So remember, self is available. Self is equal to its own reverse. We can leave off the self dot there. So this could be self dot reverse, as we just saw. But now this self, this isn't a word. This is a string. We're just adding palindrome to the string class. So let's see if that worked. Oh, why didn't that work? Oh, I see what happened. I called string question mark. That was stupid. So let's call palindrome question mark. Foobar.palindrome question mark is false. What about deified? You might think, no, that's not a palindrome, but it is. So this is really amazing, that we can actually open up a default Ruby class and add a custom method like palindrome so that we can call it on a literal constructor like this. And so you can see that the distinction between built-in Ruby methods and methods that we add is in a sense artificial. And it's this kind of flexibility that allows Rails to add all kinds of things to vanilla Ruby, and yet everything feels like a seamless whole. So let me give you one example of that. This is the blank method. It's useful to know if something's blank, so the empty string is blank, but so is just a bunch of blanks, a bunch of spaces. But this is in fact not part of Ruby. This is added by Rails, and because the Rails console adds a bunch of the Rails extensions, we have access to something like the blank method. You might suspect that blank is added to the string class, but in fact, nil is also blank. So it's actually added all the way down at object.